How are you doing? Welcome to live stream number 65. Today is September 28th, 2017. Thank you so much for taking the time to join today's live stream. Today's topic, well, I kind of had to keep it secret. That is highlights for what's new in September, Volume 2. Because chances are that you maybe haven't even noticed. But about an hour ago, the development team decided to push out a new update to Fusion 360, and that's the second for the month of September. What is awesome. I just checked up on YouTube. Bryce and Aaron did post their what's new video up to the Fusion 360 YouTube channel, so definitely make sure that you go and check that one out, because they tend to go a little bit more in detail in what I'm doing here in the live stream with the new functions inside of Fusion. So I just kind of like want to give you my highlights, what I think you definitely need to know about. But again, Bryce and Aaron's awesome video up on YouTube, and then also if you search, just Google the blog for Fusion 360, you will find a in-depth review of that. Already see we got a bunch of people inside the live stream. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy day. Yes, today's topic is what's new. If you're watching the recording, don't forget down in the description area of the video is my email address. And if you give me a pen, I'm waving around with it. Let's get rid of that. Email me if there's any future topics you would like to see in the live stream. Okay, let's jump into it. So I kind of modeled this one up in a hurry here, just to kind of like show you a couple of the functions that is new inside of this release, and you know, it's kind of exciting. There was a bunch of bug fixes inside of the release notes too, and I'm not really gonna cover any of those here, but you know, it looked like that they did a good clean out of that, and they added some new functions. So the first one I want to talk about is Rails. Now, if you follow the live stream, you know about Rails because we talked about that, or guide curves. What's new in this release, and by the way you know you have a new release is there'll be like a little one up here, and if you click on the job status, it will download the latest release for that. But like I said, they just pushed it out, so you might have to wait a few hours till it gets to you. So what is new with, for example, lofts? So what's new is that when you're using Rails, now you can actually use solid edges. So before you had to kind of like create extra lines, arcs, splines for the Rails, but now you can actually use existing geometry. So if I go in here and say I want to create a loft, and I want to create a loft between this surface and this surface, and by the way the software works is kind of neat. It automatically looks at what you kind of have here, and it goes to a cut. But I'm going to make this a join just for the heck of it. And then it kind of like tries to join between the two edges. Now that's where these rails comes in, right? And if you look back, we just actually talked about the loft and the rails when we kind of model up that little bottle thing. If you look back in the live streams last week, you'll see that. But what we can do now is we can actually select an edge, and that edge will now kind of like be the centerline guide for this loft. So that is extremely cool. So that is one of the new things that I think is kind of exciting, that we now got that in there. Another thing that I just saw was that we talked about curvature, and if you looked around, like you will see right now, it says G0, so G0, G1, G2, and look back at the curvature video live stream if you need to know, if you're like, what the heck does all that mean? But what they've done in this release is that they have unified the naming too. You will find, in the previous versions of Fusion, you would find that sometimes they will call it smooth, or they will call it other things. Now they have gotten these numbers on it. So more power to our curvature video we did. And definitely, if you haven't watched that one, I think we did it like early last week. I think we did. Check that one out and give me a feedback on what if you like that video. Love to hear your feedback on that. Okay, so that is number one. Another thing that they have done is that, and they did it with simulation, but it doesn't have to be in the simulation workspace. If you right-click up here on your main kind of like component or assembly, whatever you're into, and you click export, before, in the old version, it actually went and just wanted to save the archive file directly to your hard drive. But they've changed that, so now it exports out in your, like where we know, out in your data panel, where we normally are playing around with files. It still saves it as a Fusion file, and you can still choose to save it to your computer, as you can see. But one of the main reasons they did that was, if you remember in the first release in September, that in the simulation workspace, they created this simplifying tool where you could simplify like your assemblies, where you could like remove holes, remove different things that maybe didn't really fit it into the assembly workspace. And it was actually kind of cool with this simplified version, because what I heard was that there were some other teams, like the CAM manager, product manager Al, pointed out that, wow, that would be a cool feature to get in the CAM workspace, where you can take a solid model or a solid assembly, and you can kind of like, pull some of these things off that you maybe don't need in a specific workspace. So like simulation, or for example in CAM. So I think that inside of this workspace was kind of like where, you simplified your assembly down to something that you really liked, and then I'll give you the option that you could export that assembly out right from within. Well, maybe you can't do it from. No, I don't have it. Okay, I thought it was. Well, maybe it's because I have a study going. I'm not sure. But that you can now play around with your different models, and then you should be able to export it out. I'm pretty sure I thought it was in the simulation workspace. But so that has changed. Instead of just saving to your computer, you can now, play around with your assemblies, and you can make different versions of it, and you can save it right back into, your other designs instead of saving it right to your computer. All right. Couple of CAM things that I should highlight. One of them is that if you go in and you, for example, got to drill something, for example. So let's just do a job setup here. Something like this. If you go in and drill, got to use drilling, in the geometry tab, we have this select same diameter. And I think most people, I hope you know about this one. So you can click on this, and now if you select one hole, it will select the rest of them. But what they added in here, which is super cool, is that they actually added, when you click on that, you get a couple of extra checkboxes. You can now filter down and say only the same hole at depth. So right now, if I select this inner hole here, you will see that our drilling operation will select all 7, 9 holes, whatever I have in here. That is, I think there's 8 that is in here. If I then say only same hole depth, you will see that it actually filters some of them off, because when I created this, I made these 3 holes not the same depth as the remaining in here. So that is in here, and also there is now same top Z height. Can definitely be nice too if you have like counterbores and things like that. So these 2 new checkboxes is super cool. We are going to do CAM tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about adaptive clearing, which is really cool. 2 really cool. We're going to talk about adaptive clearing, and we're going to talk about 2D adaptive clearing tomorrow. So if you're into CAM, definitely tune in tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Another thing that I can't show you, but is coming soon, And I'm only saying this because Al Watmo, the product manager, kind of teased a little bit about this out on Instagram. Is soon you will have form tools inside of Fusion 360. That should make some of us CAM people excited. So that is cool. All right, moving on. Yesterday we talked about drawings. And I'm going to keep this one short today, by the way. I can see that I'm kind of flying through my highlights, but it's all good. We all got stuff to do in drawing. So yesterday we did drawings. So I'm not really gonna go too much into that. But what is new? Let's go in and make it to this drawing here. I thought this was kind of cool. There's a couple of things in here that is cool that they added. That is now, if you go up to where you can create a new, you can, oh, let me just get out of this. It automatically sets the home view. Go up here, and there is a new drawing template. Now, what is really cool about this is that you can create these templates here. Now, I'm just going to say create a template from scratch. And you get this this layout here, and what you can do now is you can actually create placeholders. So I can go in here and say that I want to place a base view, for example. So So the base view went black. That's all good. You know what happened, right? Well, that's just how it goes. It's probably all my fault. I'll take the blame for this one. So let's open up our part again. The beauty of live streaming. Okay. From new design. Let's see, there's like 69 people in here. If it happens again, then I owe everybody a beer. How about that? So let's go up here and say new drawing templates. And let me say from scratch, hit OK. And let's just see here. Base view. And you get these kind of placeholder looking here. So I'm setting a place view and you're like, what the heck is this? Well, it's kind of like a capture for creating for our drawing. So if I go in here, I can do a projected view. So let's do this like this. Let's do an isometric 1-2, hit enter. This is really like what we did yesterday where we talked about how you can create views. But of course, this is a template. So I can move this up here. Let's click on that view and do this. Okay, and maybe also you can see here you can insert table. So what you can do is you can predefine what your drawing will look like. So now when I go up and save it to live stream, let's call it templates. Okay. And so now that is getting stored right now out here. You can see the wheel is spinning. So now, when I go in and I say I'm going to make a drawing of this from design, now instead of from scratch, I can select that template. I can hit OK. And then it should have predefined the views. Okay, maybe it didn't have a chance to update. Oh, this is good. Well, so I'm going to take the blame on this because literally I got the update an hour ago and I just kind of like went in here and I just played around with it. Yeah, it should have predefined the views if it was using this table. All right. Quarter after, I'm just going to try one more time. Maybe I did something wrong here. Thank you for your patience. So let's go in and create a new drawing from design. And let's go and do a, up here, say new drawing template from scratch. And base view. So here's these views again we can place. Let me just place a projected view. That should be fine. And then we save it. Whatever, call it something else. Okay. It's still updating over here to the cloud. Maybe that's the problem, that it can't use it quick enough because maybe it has to like update. I don't know. But let's try it. So instead, creating a new drawing, go in here and there's template Lars. Select that one and hit OK. All right, that's not gonna work right now. It should have populated those views, I believe, unless I'm doing something wrong. All right, that doesn't matter. I tried. Let's do a top view on this thing, and got a couple of other things I gotta show you. Another thing that we talked about yesterday was that the dimension tool have gotten an update too. So if you go in and you place a dimension, like a dimension like this, let's place this one. It should better position now in here. But what you can actually do now is you can right click, and there is a move command that will actually let you select the dimension, and you can actually move it to another location. Right click, move. So we can move this dimension. You can move dimensions around. Now when I do this, you will of course see that I get a warning, and that means that it have lost its references. But look at this. If I re-reference it, and just for the heck of it, I'm actually going to select something completely different. It updates the dimension and everything and reassociates it. So the dimension now have this move command on them, and they should be better located. The last thing I want to show is they also added a new center mark. So yesterday we talked about center lines, we talked about center marks, and now they have added this new center mark pattern. And what the way it works is that you literally just go in and select, like if you have like circular like this, and you will see that it starts creating the center lines for that whole thing there, and it will actually also create the center right inside of the center. So that's kind of neat if you are trying to dimension something like a whole pattern, that you can now get that showing up. All right. Yeah, I think that was it's almost 20 after. I think that was about all I had on my list. So we had the loft, where we can now use the edge of another solid as our rails. Export and assembly. So if you are modifying an assembly and you want to kind of like make a new copy of that whole assembly, you can export it out. That's kind of a neat thing. Drilling the same holes and then picking what depth, that's absolutely a thumbs up to the CAM team. I need to practice my drawing templates. And then the other couple of drawing tools in there, the center marks and the dimensions. Cool stuff. Like I said, they did a bunch also of bug fixes inside of the software in this release, it looks like. You know, they're just going in and kind of like making sure that things are working depending on the feedback they're getting. So, you know what? I think we're going to keep it a short one today. Tomorrow is about adaptive clearing. So if tomorrow is Friday, tomorrow we're going to do CAM, and we're going to talk about adaptive clearing. Same time as today, so 2 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to end the broadcast. So if you're watching the recording, thank you so much for taking time to chime in here. and I'm going to jump in the live stream and say hi to everybody. Until tomorrow, have an awesome, awesome day.